Favor here, and today I'm going to talk about roots. In your garden, to look after your garden properly, and especially if you want to do some dividing of your plants, you really have to know what the root structure is of your plants. Number one, the root structure, if you're putting it into the ground, you have to know what depth the root will need. Some perennials only need a small amount. They're surface ground cover ones. A lot of them need a lot of depth. So this morning I'm just going to talk to you about some of the ones that need a lot of depth. And that is columbine. Now, columbine is it's a spring blooming plant. And it tolerates sun, but does very well in some shaded areas. Not all shaded, but some. So I already potted these ones up the other day, but I just want to show you this one here. When I looked at it, I wouldn't have dug this one up, but when I looked at it, I thought it was a bunch of little ones all together. So I thought, oh, I'll get those guys out of there because they're in with some of the daylilies. Anyways, it ended up that it was a great big one. So I'm just going to unearth it here, and I'm just going to show you what the root structure is like. And then I'll show you why I wouldn't want to be digging it up. This has a really gnarly root structure. It doesn't have a lot of the fibrous roots on here, and when you have a plant that doesn't have fibrous roots on it, it's really hard to dig this up and transplant it or to divide it. For the columbine here, I wait until it self-seeds, and then I just dig up the little guys, and I'm just going to show you what one of the little guys looks like. This is one that was right beside this one, and I'm just going to pop it out of here. Everything is so darn wet because it's just been raining so hard. But so here is the root structure. I don't know if you can see that really well, but already it's got some little arms coming out there. And this one here happens to have some fibrous roots, but that's because it's a baby and it's just trying to get started here. So this is going to end up like this. So you're going to need at least 18 inches for this kind of a root structure for sure. So I'll just set these aside and I'll pot them back up after. And one that we already did in one of the other videos was this euphorbia. And I'm just going to take it out just to remind you, or if you hadn't seen that one, you can see what this one looks like. This one also is the same kind of a root structure. Like this. It's got a few fibrous roots down on the bottom, but it's very woody. It's extremely woody and that. So this doesn't transplant well either. I dug this up so I could show how you could separate it. This one you could separate because there were some other little ones growing off of it that had some fibrous roots right over here. So I broke them off. But with the columbine, they don't usually do that. And they self-seed. If you give them a chance, they'll self-seed in your garden. I'm not a tidy gardener, so I let everybody have a chance. And then if you make too many babies, then actually most of the time you're out of there. So, anyways, the next one I wanted to show you, is the lupin. And this one here, I'm surprised I got it out of the ground, but I've got about 6 of them right over where there's a bunch of other stuff. Now, this is why they're really good on the roadsides and that, because they have such a root system on them that they'll survive just about any weather, and certainly if it's really, really dry, because they've got this big taproot that goes right way down on them. So this one here, I don't even know, because I've never tried to do this with the lupin, but I see over here that there is a fibrous root there. So I don't know. Oh, I get a worm. I wouldn't even bother to try with the lupin. Lupins are really hard to start your seeds because they dampen off very, very quickly, and so they're not very good to try and start in the house. If you're going to start them in the house, do them really late, like only just start them now, and I think you have to soak the seeds and stuff. So I'm just going to move that stuff out of the way. So the next one I'm going to show you is a phlox. Now, let me see if I can get this over here. Yesterday I wasn't so good with getting it centered. This is a tall phlox, not a creeping phlox. So this one here, you have to get down inside there. And I like the little curved blade here on the seculars or the pruners, because I like to get it right down. It almost like grabs a hold of it for me, and that. So we get those long guys out of there. But for this one here, they have runners on them. And some of them run quite a bit more than other ones. But they're easy to divide. And because you can see by this that there's a lot of fibrous roots here. And this is quite a nice chunk here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Hoya knife. And I'm just going to go in there and just see if I can't break it up here. Guess that's not going to work. Sometimes it's easier just to wiggle it. There we go. I guess I loosened it up. There we go. So now you've got a nice little patch here that you can start somewhere else in your garden. So now the last two that I have are the echinacea, the purple coneflower, and the milkweed for the monarch butterfly. So this is the echinacea, the purple coneflower. This is the only variety I think I have in the garden. I've tried other ones, you know, that have the double tops and all that stuff, but they never seem to come year after year. They die out. So, and pink is gorgeous. So I have a lot of pink in my garden. So this one here, you also, in a clump like this, you can just work it like this. And then there's, you can just tease it right out of there. Now their root system is a very hairy root system like this. When they get older, they also get quite a gnarly bulb on the bottom of them, and that's I think what they use when they're using echinacea in herbal remedies and stuff, is they grind up the roots. Oh, got a little spider there too. So anyways, that's the echinacea. And so this is the milkweed. And the milkweed has tons of little roots. They're not hairy roots. And so you have to be very careful when you dig these up, at what time of year that you dig them up, because they don't have the hairy roots on them. You've got to do it either in the spring or the fall, so that it's cooler and they have lots of time to settle back in. So on this one here, if you wanted to divide it, you can look on the top that this one here has 2 old stalks on here. And there's all kinds of little, I don't know if you can see them or not. What have I got here? They've got little pink shoots coming off of them. So right in here, I could, now let me just see what it looks like down below. Yeah. So I'm taking that away, and I can see that there is another little growth. Those ones come away, and then you can see the growth from this stem right here. So I'm going to see if I can get in there and pop that out of there. See what happens. So all I'm doing is I'm just putting it in, and I'm just twisting it. There we go. And then this is my root knife, so I just cut it, and there we go. These ones are hard to get apart, but they have lots of seeds that come up in the springtime, and in my garden I don't have too many that come up because I have so many other things in the garden. So usually I do some seeds up in the wintertime, in the you know, January or whatever. I get them going and that. But if you have this in your garden, a lot of people don't like them because they propagate too much. This one is called the swamp milkweed, and it does not have runners. It has just a ball, just this kind of a ball, and how it propagates is by its seeds. So once the seed heads come on, you can just take your seed heads off, and if you do that, if you can pop them open and get the seeds out of the little containers that they're in, from the flower stalk, Mercy Tobiatic in, where are they at? Down by Kejimkujik anyway, in Nova Scotia. They're always looking for seeds down there. So I bag up a whole big bunch of them every year and send them off to them because they have a program that they're trying to plant the milkweed in lots of gardens, public gardens around the province. And they'll go to garden clubs, they'll go to like 4-H groups, and if you've got a spot for them to plant them, they'll come, and I don't know how many plants they gave us for it, but we put them down actually in the DeCoste, I think it was, that is where we put them. And this one is pink. There's a white one also. I don't think it comes in any other color in the swamp milkweed with a root system like this. I do have an orange one, and the root system on it is completely different. And I don't find it's quite as hardy as the pink and the white. But the seeds that you get off of this, even if you have a pink one and you have a white one, they cross-pollinate, so you don't always get white seeds off of the white plant and pink ones off of the pink plant. But the hue of the color of the pink is what attracts the monarch butterflies. That's in their zone of vision, I guess, and that's what they're drawn to, is that pink color. So they know where they're going because it's just like a neon sign to them with this pink color. So if you're going to have any in your garden, it's always lovely to have white because you have to have contrast in your garden. You got to have the dark and the light and that. But if you want to attract your monarch butterflies, probably the pink one is the best one to start off with. And certainly have some of the echinacea, the purple coneflower as well, because it's the same shade of pink as the milkweed is. So that's it for me today. So I hope that you guys have fun gardening, and this time of year is the best time of year for most of your plants to get them dug up, move them. It's cold out, it's wet out, and they love it. So might not be so good for you, but the plants love it. So thanks very much, and thanks for stopping by. Bye for now.